The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.
Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. It's the Hood Mystic, representing hoodmystic.com, whiterabbitsite.com, columbianexchange.com. Those are my sites. That's what I do. Let me get in my game mode. Give me a second. Let me straighten up as I get into a metaphysical conversation in reference to Asmodeus. The reason that I'm doing this video is because I was asleep and like in the middle of the night, maybe not the middle of the night, like the twilight of the morning, I just kept hearing this man's name, Asmodeus, 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 and I just did a study, did some background study, things of that nature, and I haven't done a video like really in a while because I've been in some form of a transition. Like basically things is like going well. So like when things is going well, I'm generally busy. But at the same time, I still be studying. I still be wanting to share and talk. It's just that I don't be having time like I be wanting to. I mean, of course I could make time, but I just be really wanting to like work out and prioritize my mental and physical and spiritual health and doing my study. And the thing that's been like the most intriguing to me of all things is the study of this entity, spirit, demon, Asmodeus. And really just like because I've been studying these demons like for the past like 7 to 8 months, like just within myself, like just really just studying it. I haven't really even talked about it on YouTube or anything like that. I've just been really studying it. And today I felt like, all right, let's bring what I've been studying to the table. So I got like a slideshow prepared in reference to what I want to talk about. But of course, I want to talk about I have some websites to talk about as well. But without further ado, let's just get into the Prezi. So we're talking about Asmodeus. This is a metaphysical breakdown. But in order for us to have a metaphysical breakdown, we got to first understand what a metaphysical breakdown is. So let's first start with the concept of metaphysical. Metaphysical refers to the branch of philosophy that explores fundamental questions about reality, existence, and the nature of being, often delving into concepts beyond the scope of the physical world and empirical observation. So basically, when you watch videos about different demons such as Asmodeus or Beelzebub or Baal or Moloch, what most 99.9% of people get confused about these demons is that they're actual entities that exist outside of people. The reality of every angel and every demon is that they exist within you. And some are more powerful than others, such as like the executive function of your brain. And to not mince words, to be as concise as possible, Asmodeus metaphysically is the executive function of your being. So when you think about your executive function, it's the person that makes the rules and makes the plans. So when you understand your psyche to be a whole bunch of different aspects of yourself, some healed, some unhealed. You have angels, you have demons. This is not talking about entities and energies that exist outside of no human being. Archangel Michael is not flying in the sky somewhere. These are just metaphysical concepts that go beyond the physical, that go beyond empirical observation. Now, man has made use of tools such as UV lights and X rays, but those are just tools. Without those tools, in order to see a heart, you would have to cut open the body and go, like, you would never do that. So the concepts of the heart, the concepts of the brain, the concept of the mind, they're not actively seen by humanity. The ways for which we understand our body is a spiritual concept and a metaphysical concept. It goes beyond the physical, because you may have known somebody that have transitioned after, like, they wife have transitioned, or somebody close to them transitioned because they have a broken heart. It's a literal syndrome called broken heart syndrome that a person can experience, and they can get so sad that they transition out the body. That's beyond the physical. That is spiritual, that is emotional. And if you want to deal with demons and think that you can summon them and think that they exist outside of yourself, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'll buy you a Ouija board. But if you want to talk about understanding in reference to truth, this is what we're talking about. So give me 1 second. So what is truth? Give me a second. There we go. This ties into the reality of angels and demons. Peace. Truth is the absolute, that which accords with or blends with God as a divine principle, that which is, has been, and ever will be, that which eternally is. The truth of God is reality, the same yesterday and today, and yeah, and forever. The verities of being are eternal and have always existed. Truth abides in fullness at the very core of man's being. As his consciousness awareness expands, he touches the everlasting truth. What seems new is but the unveiling of that which always has been. So that's another reason why I'm having this conversation in reference to Asmodeus, because Asmodeus is not the truth, but Asmodeus is the government. Asmodeus is the education. Asmodeus is the military. Asmodeus is your supervisor. Asmodeus can possess anybody you come in contact with, because Asmodeus has a specific goal in reference to spiritual beings, and that is to separate you from your soul. So if you work at a job, Asmodeus is at work. If you are alone, dealing with lust, dealing with sin, dealing with addiction, Asmodeus is at work, because the purpose of a demon, which is an aspect of yourself, is to separate you from your soul. The easy part to everything that I'm saying is that all you would have to do is unify with your soul, which is the processes that you must have to understand the demonic energy within yourself to first want to purify. So when people become spiritual, they come better overnight. They might get a reading, they might watch a video, they might have some type of experience, a dream, a synchronicity, and all of a sudden, spirituality is their calling. But that's just like me and you, we eating dinner. We get done eating dinner, and the next day, we don't wash the dishes, but we make sweet love, and we then decide to eat over that same dish without washing it. Nobody would do that. You gotta banish and purify. Whether we talking about magic, whether you talk about Christianity, you can't be a Christian without a baptism. What is a baptism? It is a purification ritual. Baptism is a ritual purification that involves water immersion or ablutions, symbolizing cleansing from sin and initiation into a faith community with variations across Christian denominations, blah, 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 blah. But when we're talking about spirituality, you must purify yourself from the demonic influence within yourself. But we'll get into all of this. This is from occultworld.com, or if you got Judica Illis, got it on deck. Got it on deck. Encyclopedia Spirits, the ultimate guide to the magic of fairies, genies, demons, ghosts, gods, and goddesses by Judica Illis. You can find what I'm about to read in this book, but we are going to get into the metaphysics of Asmodeus. And I don't know if a nigga talk to me in my sleep, I'm gonna try to figure this shit out. Cause if y'all ever watched my videos before, maybe you never have, or maybe you have, but I generally enter topics where I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm trying to decode this shit and trying to understand it because I don't understand it. And because I don't understand it, I have a drive to understand it because I feel as though it could be understood. Now, I've pondered upon the mythology of Asmodeus many times in the past. But guess what? I didn't understand it. So I just, tomato, tomato. You know what I'm saying? Some shit happened, you got to pay the rent, you forget about Asmodeus. However, in reference to the betterment of my life, is come from an identification of a particular energy. Asmodeus, Aishma, Asmodai, 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 Asmodeus, Hashmodai, Sidanai is the demon of lust. So when you talk about the world, you talk about dating shows, 20v1s, balloon pops, reality TV, hookup culture, going to the club, internet dating. These are all not foreign concepts. This is regular, degular stuff. The demon of lust. If you ever wanted to see Asmodeus at play, just be on some regular shit, talking to some regular people about regular life. They'll probably be on this shit right here called the demon of lust. Don't worry, we'll unpack it. This might be a part 7, 8, 9, or 10. I don't know, but I want to get through all the information tonight. I said that's probably not realistic, but we'll try our damn best. But the demon of lust, which is the third of the seven deadly sins. And when you talk about the seven deadly sins, you talk about the entities and energies and viewpoints that block your chakras. We can run them down real quick. Gluttony, fornication, covetousness, or trying to hold on to everything, anger, dejection, acidity, or heaviness, or weariness of heart. This nigga on some different shit. I need to figure out. This is advanced. Okay, let's go. Pride, avarice, greed, lust, Asmodeus, lust, is the first cardinal deadly sin that leads to infidelity, deceit, betrayal, uncleanliness. Asmodeus is a major demon who figures in many possession cases. In many possession cases, what does this mean? Asmodeus can possess your mama to go against you. Will definitely possess your wife. Will definitely possess your husband. You could be so fucking smart and so fucking advanced and have degrees and be fine and do different types of makeup, but Asmodeus be the fuck possess your fucking husband. And what the fuck you gonna do about it? Put on different clothes? This is why it's very important to understand metaphysical concepts, or else you won't understand life. Because what I'm talking about is real life shit that's happening at every single bar, every single get together, every single family reunion, every fucking wedding reception. Lust. And of course, like I said, I've been studying this for feels like my whole life. But as I was working out today and I was thinking how when lust comes together with lust, and niggas will sit there and have the nerve to be crying like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that this relationship ain't work out right," as if it was built on the foundation of trust, honesty, and cooperation. Y'all wanted to fuck as soon as, and then tried to build something around it. That's a demon. That's deep in your subconscious mind, but that's okay. It's easy to get over all of this shit. That's the thing. Because if I told you to open the door, you had to go to New Mexico and you was on your front porch, you would spend a lifetime coming up with dissertations, theories, hypotheses into how to open the door. But I just gave you the wrong direction. Now, what if I told you how you open the door? You just turn around and turn the doorknob. You'll be like, "Damn, hood, that's easy as hell." That's what spiritual people do. They tell you that your healing is in fucking Tibet. Your healing is in Bali. Your healing is in a fucking Mexico ayahuasca retreat. Your healing is within yourself, unifying your conscious mind with your soul. That's where your healing is. Because if you do not have this particular foundation, guess what happens? The people close to you get possessed, and that drives you crazy because you don't understand, right? You don't understand it, but let's attempt to understand it. So, Asmodeus' chief objectives are to prevent intercourse between husband and wife, wreck new marriages, force husbands to commit adultery. He is one of the chief demons involved in cases of possession. Throughout history, he has been regarded as one of the most evil of Satan's infernal demons. So we are dealing with the most evil demon. And where these people, where this demon, he possesses everybody, right? Especially the elite and the human beings that don't fuck with your ass. That at every turn they standing in front of you, causing causing trouble in your life, right? So when you start to do this cleansing process, when you start to really start to look at situations, not from because the clearest form of lust is desire for a husband, desire for a wife. And none of that ever attracts a quality relationship. That's why 75% of black babies grow up in single parent households, because lust is not the way to quality upbringing. Even it's a more tried and true way to attract a lover that is meant to be yours, and that is doing the spiritual work. Investing 100% in your spiritual work, not desiring a partner. When you let go of the lust, that person manifests instantly. But the demonic entity and energy within yourself, it operates as the ultimate block in your life. Why? Because Asmodeus is one of the most evil infernal demons. And once you understand that this energy is within yourself, you must purify it from yourself and unify with your soul. He rides on the dragon and breathes fire. Asmodeus has his roots in ancient Persia. He is derived from Ayeshma, one of the seven archangels of Persian mythology. The Hebrews absorbed him into their mythology, where he attained the highest status and the most power of all his legends. According to Hebrews, he is the son of Naaman and Shamdan. Prior to his fall from heaven, he was a part of the seraphim, the highest order of angels. In Hebrew legends, he is either associated with or the husband of Lilith. So this is the 52 fake out, double flex, triple bump. You're going to look at Lilith energy. You're going to look at Asmodeus energy, right? And you're going to look at at these as these being the personification of evil. But when you understand these particular energies and you use them, they become the personification of magnetism, the personification of magic, because you know how to do it. You know how to open the door. The door. Somebody asked me in a DM, and I've been meaning to get to them. I just got so busy. Like, you need to talk about magic. That's like me talking about walking. It's like me talking about walking. This is how you walk. You put your left foot in front of your right foot. Everything you do is magic. But if you don't understand the actual process of how to work with your mind in all of its particular facets, then it's like when I'm having children, I gotta raise my children and I gotta like use my psychic abilities to like remote view inside of my child's body so I can begin to see the world through his eyes, so I can begin to parent him specifically. I begin to understand the mechanism of consciousness. In order to minister to my son, I have to always remind him, you have control of a body. You are not just this ball of emotions and thoughts and feelings. You are control of some machinery, and you must take care of your machinery, because your machinery is your protection, and like your antenna, your magnetizing force to the realities that you want to experience. But when you don't understand that you consciousness, you could just like be, since you don't understand that you consciousness and you don't understand metaphysics, you will allow yourself to like spend the majority of your life in an emotional prison, in a mental prison, in a psychological prison, right? It's things that you just do you shouldn't do because you can't think beyond it. And once you like what like I teach and I learn and I learn and I teach, when I began to understand the energy of Asmodeus and understand the power of his block, moving that block over a little bit, the blessings is already there. The prosperity is already there. The magnetism is already there because we are like spiritual beings having a human experience. But we have these real demonic blocks that we're not going to purify because we don't have to purify because we put on new makeup, we got new Jabot jeans, got some new Air Force Ones. We got a photographer to take a beautiful picture with filter, AI enhanced. Got 17,000 likes. That joint went viral. I don't need to expel any demons. So I read in reference to Asmodeus because I didn't want to get into any other demon because I wasn't dealing with no other. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't dealing. These is all demons of the Goetia, the lesser key of Solomon. But the lesser key of Solomon and the Goetia is all different aspects within your mind, like different mapping points within your mind, within your computer, how your computer operate at the most optimal level. And I don't know how it's a very vast subject, and like being a metaphysician, being a occultist, maybe in the next 10 years I'll have a lesser Kia Solomon full metaphysical breakdown for the collective, but like I'm just now dipping my toe into this, not even gonna lie, but it's pretty solid science. I don't ever think there is no such thing as a demon outside of no human being. There's an Asmodeus that live inside of every human being if you have the potential to lust. The issue with lust is that it's not valid. If lust is lust, if I'm lusting, it's not valid. If you lusting, it's not valid. If my wife lusting, it's not valid. If your husband lusting, it's not valid. If you lusting after somebody, it's not valid. Lust needs to be evaporated without outside of the conscious, out of the psyche, outside of the soul, outside of the heart. You have to be pure of lust. That's a very personal thing. Most people are not going to really address it or understand it, especially if you're single. If you're single, you have a subconscious latent lust that you might not say. You doing push-ups, you got a routine together, you got a support group, you going out for brunch on Saturday, you got a full schedule, you busy, right? You don't got time for no man. That's lust. Okay. Because in order for lust to be satisfied, you have to be in a relationship where that part is being met. See, it's a trick to it. So the book of Tobit tells Asmodeus lusted after a young man named Sarah. And so I just thought about how, you know, you can be in a relationship with a man and you want to have sex. You could be in a relationship with a man, but you can want to have sex with a man or a particular man. And there's many times where the relationship will end because sex must be had. That's lust, and that is Asmodeus. That is the demonic force. If you ever feel within your relationship that you want to have sex to the point that you don't want to be in a relationship, You don't want to discuss it. You don't want to explore it. You don't want to understand the urge. You just want to act on it without telling nobody about it. That is a demonic force, which is called lust. When you are a man and you are in a relationship with a woman, and you go into massage parlors, and you dealing with prostitutes, and you going to strip clubs, and you on dating sites, and you got little secret clubs with niggas, and y'all doing weird shit that don't nobody know about. That's lust. Lust is not vocal. Lust is hardly ever discussed. Lust is something that you keep in the dark right hand corner of your mind, and it is a block to your development and growth. It is something that you developed when you was 13 years old. You seen goddamn Lil Wayne, goddamn dude, go DJ. That's my DJ. And you created a glamour associated with sex and masculine energy, sex and feminine energy. And you have transposed this lust on an idea for a romantic, long term relationship. Even if it was so, you wouldn't be able to go to the bank and put a down payment on a home based upon how many nuts that Romello gave you last night. There has to be something more substantial to the relationship than lust. But you know this because you created a relationship with a person that is worthwhile. Most people ruin that relationship not for something worthwhile, but for something that they can't even tangibly bring back to the surface unless it's a late night 4 a.m. smash and dash. So Asmodeus lusted after a young woman. So Asmodeus, I'm getting a download. I'm getting a download. Because Asmodeus is a Abrahamic, pre Christian concept. And you will find Asmodeus. I'm just trying to cue up the Bible verse. Just gonna cue up the Bible verse one time for the one time. That's, that's one, 6, 1, 4. Man. So this is Asmodeus in Genesis chapter 6, verse 1. This just came to me. When human beings began to increase in the number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them that they chose. Closing up some windows, more RAM. Nigga gotta do. Must I wave it at your children? And so I left off saying that I figured out Asmodeus in the Bible, and my whole shit crashed when I said that. But I just sat here, took a drink, and I've been through it all, man, and seen it all, and shit. You ain't about to stop me from crashing my computer. That's not even possible. So now it came to pass when men became to multiply the face of the earth, and the daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward. When the sons of God came into the daughters of men, they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men of who were of old, men of renown. So when we're underneath this particular system, it's being imposed by a certain level of, you could call it patriarchal, masculine type of energy that you would no doubt call it men of renown, women of renown, elite, royalty. These are double flip, double entendres on the particular word. Because when you talk about royalty and elite, you're also talking about those that are deeply possessed by a spirit of flesh. My spirit shall not strive with man forever. So this is metaphysical talk. The spirit of God does not strive within the constructs of a 120-year life cycle. You don't find God within anything that mankind can offer. These particular concepts are created through the lack of knowledge, through the ignorance of the facts, that when we begin to study Asmodeus and the lust, that's what the metaphysics of this verse is talking about. When men began to multiply on the face of the earth, daughters were born to them. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves for whom they chose. What is this talking about? We talking about the Bible is not talking about the past, it's talking about black people right now. When you understand the demonic energy and entity of the certain types of men that are sexually driven and sexually attractive, meaning that they just fucking for no reason. They fucking because they can, and they can get pregnant, but ultimately the act of fucking does not equate to being a good father. Those two are not synonymous. Therefore, when God came into them, the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, this is basically talking about what? And this lust creating this society of people that rule over a certain side of people that are just ignorant of the science, which we'll be getting into very shortly, but just giving you the basic Wikipedia breakdown of Asmodeus before we get into the metaphysical. Because in order to understand the metaphysical, if you don't understand the basic understanding of Asmodeus, it's not going to make sense. Everything within the basic understanding of Asmodeus can be interpreted metaphysically. So Asmodeus lusted after a young woman named Sarah and killed each one of her seven husbands. Whenever you see the number seven, they're talking about the chakra. Seven is, and whenever they use seven, they're locking the chakras down. 7 days, meaning that you're in a daze. You be in a daze for a week, and then you be weak, and then you be weak throughout the week, and then you eventually get weakened, and you start your week all over again. It's 7 days in a week, breaking down your seven chakras. It breaks down your seven chakras so much that you don't even think that you got chakras. You don't even care about your chakras. You don't even know what your chakras is. You don't care because you got 7 days in a week. So once again, metaphysical. The book of Tobit explains how Asmodeus lusted after a young woman. What young woman? Is it a girl named Sarah back in the olden days that Asmodeus lusted after? That don't matter. Everything that you read in ancient texts, you should refer it to yourself. Because if you try to bring your mind into a space that you're not even really sure exists, there's some science that say the world got created not too long ago, and we just entered into assimilation. I joke with people. You remember the first day you was born? No, I don't remember it. How you know it happened? How you don't know you just got entered into a computer somewhere? And they be like, why is people so addicted to the tech? Because that's what we are. Why your kid love it so much. Anyways, maybe too deep. Maybe that's another demon. I don't know. We'll get into some other stuff. With an eight-shooter Tobias in her life, Sarah prayed to God for help. God sent down the archangel Raphael, who instructed Tobias in how to make an incense of the heart and liver of a glanos fish, which would drive away Asmodeus. So once again, we talking about doing rituals to banish. Once you do the proper banishing ritual, you don't need to do a love spell. You don't need to do a money spell. You don't need to do a road opener spell. Once again, you're already on the porch and you're trying to figure out how to make it home. You need to do simple rituals that banish to get you to understand how to open the door. When you trying to do road opener spells and money spells and things of that nature, what you're essentially saying is, where is the directions for me to get home? That's why everything in spirituality can be considered a joke. Because at the same time, who's going to breathe for you? Who's going to eat for you? Who's going to shit for you? Nobody. You're going to have to do it yourself. But somehow, when we get into spiritual development, we're going to pay somebody to do it for us. We're gonna pay somebody to initiate us to put Obatala on our head and things of that nature. You need to purify all demonic entities and energies, and you will see it for yourself, free of charge. So what did God do? God sent down the archangel Raphael, who instructed Tobias on how to make an incense of the heart and liver of a glanos fish, which would drive away Asmodeus. After Tobias and Sarah were married, Asmodeus still appeared in her wedding chamber to kill Tobias, but the incense forced him to flee. What does this mean? This means that no matter how many people love you and like you, no matter how much money you make, no matter how beautiful you are, if you don't maintain a spiritual ethical process, that shit can take you over. The demonic force The negative urge is so powerful because spirit sat my ass down and looked me straight in the eye and told me the realest shit ever. You will not be able to go inside nobody's body and redirect a spirit from possessing them. If a person want to be possessed by a negative spirit, because what a negative spirit is an underdeveloped form of the psyche in the first place. You can't develop a person's psyche for them, no matter if that's your mama, your wife, your brother, your husband, your son, your daughter, your best friend. Y'all grew up together. Y'all was in the army together. Y'all in the gang together. If a person decides to be at a lower level or undeveloped state, Asmodeus or the seven deadly sins can come in and take over. So Asmodeus went to Egypt, but Raphael tracked him down and bound him. According to pseudographical The Testament of Solomon, which we'll be referring to, Asmodeus lives in the constellation of the Great Bear, Ursa Major. He spreads the wickedness of men, plots against newlyweds, spreads madness about women through the stars, ruins the beauty of virgins, and commits murders. The Bible is not talking about the past. The Bible is talking about the children of Israel and the state and times and affairs that we are living in right now. And a lot of the issues that we are dealing with can be resolved very simply when we admonish and purify the lust out of our hearts and our minds and get closer to our soul. Because when you begin to do this, you might not be able to save them, but you can for sure save yourself. What are you going to see? You're going to see the wickedness of men. The wickedness of men start with, I'm talking to you, ladies, he talking to you, but all of a sudden he say, well, why don't you come over? Or can I come over there? Or you trying to get a hotel room. One's in the chat, y'all go from talking about, y'all favorite color to what color panties you got on. Y'all get done eating dinner, he like, whose place we going over, my place or yours? Soon as the steak get ate, it ain't hard to tell what type of person is operating out of lust. And once again, the reality of the situation is 99.999%. Good luck. If you're the type of person that is seeking a divine masculine, you're not going to find them in the men that you think. You won't find them within yourself. You won't find them through the spiritual direction. You won't find them through the synchronicity and the coincidence that magnetize the force of God in your life. You're not able to decide what type of man you're going to want. That brings us to Genesis 6. Yeah, you might be able to bear children and they might be able to take any woman that they want, but this is still under the label of the wickedness of men. Plots against newlyweds. Last time I checked, we had a 50% divorce rate. Last time I checked, she got divorced because she was unhappy. When you divorce because of your unhappiness, that is a demonic entity in the energy called Asmodeus. It is an undeveloped function within the 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 executive function within your brain to then think that the person that loves you, the person that wants to build a life with you, is somehow your worst enemy and holding you back. Think about how happiness is an inside job. Think about how satisfaction is not based on how many girls you can have sex with, but how much peace you can have. How does an individual develop peace? By getting closer to their soul. You start dealing with spiritual shit, what you get is an elation, an exhilaration that leads into an energy drain. The real spirituality is finding peace in your heart, whether you married, unmarried, it don't matter. You should be able to take time to fully flesh out who you are spiritually, whether you're single or deeply involved in a marriage. Because when y'all both are unable to unify with your soul, the overall gist of it, she's still out here wearing booty shirts. He's still out here on dating sites. He still got the lingering eye. That is a demon. That is a demonic energy that is plotting against your relationship. Asmodeus spreads madness about women through the stars. Anybody that studies Western astrology develops a form of madness. When you introduce other forms of astrology, they break down. When you introduce the actuality according to the astronomy, they break down because everybody wants to be tied to and attached to something that seems to be real. You can sense spirituality, you can sense truth because you're standing on the porch. You're just looking out on the streets. At a certain point you have to turn around. What is that analogy representing? You have to do the internal work. The internal work is right and exact. The stars don't lie, people do. When you look at a Western astrology chart, you're dealing with a chart that's not based upon truth. So Asmodeus, in reference to the millions of people that study astrology in America, that's all of his doing. But trust me, none of them are studying Vedic, none of them are studying Sidereal. The millions of people, they swear by studying Western and tropical science. The reason why is because it's demonic. That's what this means. Ruins the beauty of virgins. Before she even thinks that her virginity is valuable, she thinking about she thinking about giving it up before she can even figure out the value of it. That's a demonic energy. The little girl can't wait in 2025. You think that's not demonic? You think that that's not demonic, that our girls are so sexually motivated through the Sexy Reds, through the Cardi B's, through the Meg Thee Stallions, through the Nicki Minaj's, the ruins the beauty of virgins. You don't think that that's demonic and a underdeveloped part of the psyche? Okay, when you don't develop this part of the psyche, the executive function, the part that makes the good decisions for the future, of course you can fuck a boy under the bleachers. Why not? It ain't going to affect you in the future. And commits murders. We watch the news. We got we got all of the latest technology gadgets and apps on our phone so to act as some form of protection. That's demonic. The fact that when you live in this earth and you come in contact with each other and you hug and you fellowship and you love and you build, the fact that people and families haven't talked in years, people that love each other haven't talked in years, that's demonic. And it's not no demon outside fucking shit up. These are undeveloped parts of the executive function, the inability to see yourself and see other people outside of you. But that is okay because, like I said, this shit is easy to dispel, hard when you don't notice it. He is forever thwarted by Raphael and the smoking liver and gall of fish, especially sheepfish, which lives in Assyrian rivers. He has knowledge of the future. Asmodeus is taken into the presence of King Solomon by the prince of demons Beelzebub. Sullen, arrogant, and defiant, he tells the king he was born of a human mother and an angel father. He also says that Solomon will have only a temporary hold over the demons. His kingdom eventually will be divided, and the demons will go out again among men. And he will be worshipped as gods because humans will not know the names of the angels who thwart the demons, which is a play on words. I'll get into why it's a play on words because I study this shit. So, once again, this is Asmodeus, a metaphysical breakdown. What we're about to read. I was reading psychedelic gospels, and this is the first time I ever heard about Asmodeus. So everything that I'm learning about Asmodeus, this is like I said, I studied Asmodeus like some time back based upon me reading this book. But this is how I first understood Asmodeus in the first place. And I'm bringing this up to say this is the this is what this last part means when they say um so Asmodeus says that Solomon will only have a temporary hold over the demons, right? So the Solomon, the soul of man, your soul will only have a temporary hold over the demons. The soul will eventually be divided. So your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere is divided, and we are left brain prisoners. Is it fair to say that modern workers are left brain dominant? So damn, they done locked down Google. They said they said left brain and right brain. That's not real. Okay. And demons will go out again among men and will be worshipped as gods because humans will not know the names of the angels who thwart the demons. So you got to understand the nature of life. The nature of life is that you on the porch and the door is behind you, but you're not thinking to turn around because nobody told you to turn around. They told you that you need to go to Acapulco. They told you need to go to Cancun. You need to go to St. Lucia. You need to go to Bahamas. You need to go to France. You need to go to Italy. But you like, damn, I need to go home because I need to change some clothes and stuff like that. And you don't know how to get there. So they telling you to go a whole bunch of places, but you already on the porch. So, because you do not know the names of the angels who thwart the demons, you might think that the angels is going to thwart the demons, but you cannot fight fire with fire. You must fight demon with demon, but this is just basic knowledge, right? Demons demons are the true gods that have been flipped in reference to the angels. So now, when people pray to God, they pray to the demons. And when you pray to the demons, you pray to the angels. According to one interpretation, this is the demon Asmodeus who symbolizes hidden treasure. So, if you do not develop your executive function, it is demonic. When you develop your executive function, to say that your outlook is what you shall experience, it becomes your hidden treasure because you create your own reality. You have all heard that before. This is the reality of it. So I was reading this book and psychedelic gospels. You can Google it. I'm reading a free PDF off Google. So they travel. It's a book about a bunch of stories, and they traveling. They walk up to a stone. They in France somewhere. They reach the Church of Saint Mary Magdalene. The church is adjacent to the Torre Magdala, or the Magdalene Tower, that Saunier had built to house an extensive library of Villa Bethania, which was to serve as the residence for retired priests. Sitting some 1,500 feet above sea level, the complex has a commanding view of the surrounding countryside. Immediately upon entering the church, we came face to face with the statue. So immediately upon entering the church, we come face to face with the statue of the devil holding up a holy water stoup, a rare feature for a French church. According to one interpretation, this is the demon Asmodeus, who symbolizes hidden treasure. This is where, cause um goddamn on a journey with these mushrooms, and it's like it has to begin to like lead you somewhere. It has to begin to make sense. And for some people it's instantly, for me it's just a long, long journey, but that's okay because that's how I like it. I like the slow stroke. Never mind. Look, Julie said, pointing directly above the holy water, that looks like a blue mushroom sitting on the top of a pine cone. It's flanked by two dragons under a red circle inside a gold border with the initials BS in the middle. That's funny. The initials have to stand for the priest, Berenger Saunier. I noted, who obviously was not a modest man. But what does the inscription say? Julie reflected and then turned to me and said, "It means by this sign you shall conquer." We fell silent, taking in this new information. Then, after looking around to confirm we were alone in this small church, Julie spoke up and said, "What were you thinking?" "Well," I replied, "unlike St. Martin, there's no distinguishing shape to the mushroom, and we have no context here in which to place this little blue mushroom, if it really is a mushroom, that is suspended over the holy water. There's no biblical story or imagery to relate it to, and nothing about the life of Christ." Okay, I get to the point. I get the point, Julie conceded. But let's see what else we can find here. Maybe there are other clues. So, in the long and short of it, they're just like investigating different stories or different mythologies in reference to psychedelic mushrooms. And one of these relations that we have is that of Asmodeus in this church with this priest who works with Asmodeus in reference to dealing with mushrooms. From my personal observation and understanding, Asmodeus like, all right, I'm about to give you a fortune, and you know what I'm saying, just look out for me. So he builds this magnificent church on the hill, and part of him building a church and creating a statue of Asmodeus was because it was real. And once again, for the modern American, we can't imagine having a real conversation with a demonic entity because, one, we don't want to expand our mind based upon psychedelics. We think psychedelics are drugs, and we don't understand the medicinal and spiritual aspects to it. And two, we think that these spirits exist outside of us. So if we don't, if we The funny part is you think it exists outside of you, therefore you'll never have an experience with a demonic energy because these are all metaphysical concepts. So this is what it. I just wanted to show this page to just show you what the statue looked like of Asmodeus. And like she said, when she said it was like little blue mushrooms, I didn't personally see it on there, but like I don't. It's in the psychedelic gospel, so it must have something to do with some form of psychedelics and things of that nature. But there is no direct evidence. But I just me personally, my personal experience through the use of psychedelics and the awareness of Asmodeus, like I can understand why very few people might experience or understand it. But when I say very few, I'm showing you that there are some people that actually interface and deal with this particular energy, and not to spook you, because once again, the thing that make you laugh is the thing that make you cry, and vice versa. The most extreme evil is also the most extreme greatness. It's like the feeling of having your world feel like it's about to end, only for it to feel like the possibility is endless, like a matter in like just a matter of understanding within yourself, or a matter of magnetism to be in the right place at the right time, to know the right people and be able to do the right things. So we're about to reference the Temple of Solomon, or the Testament of Solomon, in reference to the demons that he conjures and what he uses them for. Yeah. So here we go. All right. Just trying to get something set up. So, doo, 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 doo. So it's different verses. It's like this is before the Bible. It's different verses, and like it's just it looks like a bunch of words. But once you get into like breaking it down metaphysically, which I'll do, I think I'll just do this particular verse and then just see how I feel after this verse, and then because I got like more verses to cover. But I said that this was going to be a multi-parter because it's a lot of information to digest, and I feel like it might be better digested in chunks, right? If you had a refrigerator full of food, you ain't about to eat it all in one day unless you my kids, but that's a whole nother video. um, so the verse starts off, and I at once bade another demon. So bade is to like take it, or is still under control, is like to talk to a prisoner, I guess, to understand the concept of bade. So Solomon is talking to a prisoner or a demon, which of course this is the way, of course a demon is restrained because it is a part of your brain. Yeah, your executive function is restrained, is imprisoned to you, right? So, and I once bade another demon to be led unto me. So I want this demon to do what I wanted to do. I want my executive function to do what I want it to do. I want to create the life that I want to live. One's in the chat. I want to live the life that I want to live. So therefore, I'm going to deal with my executive function because I have an executive function, right? That I have a president. I have the ability to create the reality that I want to create. So therefore, I'm going to take control of it. And instantly, there approached me the demon Asmodeus bound, and I asked him, "Who art thou?" But he shot on me a glance of anger and rage. So, anger and rage are specific concepts that exist with, within the context of truth. When you are when your partner is angry at you, when your partner is filled with rage, it is because the truth is somewhere in front of them. And this is a defense. Rage and anger is a defense mechanism. I got two sons. I always know who the guilty one is by who's the most angry, because the angry one has the defense mechanism he has to protect against his lie. The truth needs no protection. So when you begin to reflect and self-reflect upon the demonic energies within yourself, you begin to understand it, you will start to understand your anger and your rage. You will start to understand your depression. These are aspects in your life. The deep sadness are the aspects of your life that are not grounded in truth. The things that are grounded in your truth are not, you never grounded in truth in a space of anger, in a space of rage. So once again, Solomon asked, "Who art thou?" And I said to him, "Thus punished as thou art, and thou answerest me." But he with rage said to me, "But how shall I answer thee? For thou art a son of man." So this goes back to Genesis 6. Told y'all that was a download. That download crashed my whole system. Whereas I was born an angel seed by a daughter of man. What is this talking about? This is not, this is something very important. I was just reading a text message. But once we understand that lust and love don't mix, like oil and water don't mix, bleach and vinegar don't mix. Now, divinity and divinity goes together quite naturally and well. And when divinity comes together, it's just going to come together, it's going to be aligned. So where did I leave off at? So that no word of our heavenly kind addressed to the earthborn can be overweening. Wherefore, also my star is bright in heaven, and men call it in some way, and some the dragon's child. I keep near unto this star. So ask me not many things, for thy kingdom also after a little time is to be disrupted, and thy glory is but for a season. In short, I will be thy tyranny over us, and then we shall again have free range over mankind. So free range over mankind is free range over the minds of mankind, over the actions of mankind, over the behaviors of mankind. When the lower undeveloped executive function, which is controlled by either sex or spiritual development. When that part is not developed, then the underdeveloped has over control, which is just a basic lust automaton system. So when you see such things in reference to lust, in reference to underdeveloped concepts, you will revere it as if it were gods, not knowing men they are, in the names of the angels set over us. And really all they're talking about is the divine order in the specific system that I will talk about this stuff because this stuff is the message, and the message is very clear. It's in the Bible, it's in the Hindu text, it's in the Muslim text, and it is not hard to understand. You must go within yourself, activate your chakras from your root chakra up. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is divine order. You have to walk out your house. You have to walk down the steps. You have to open the door. You have to sit in the car. You have to put the key in the ignition. You have to turn it. You have to put the car in reverse. You have to then put it in drive to get to where you're going. You just don't teleport from A to B. There is a specific steps. And if you don't understand and know those specific steps, you will not be enlightened. If you just work with the heart chakra because somebody said that your heart chakra was in balance, you're not enlightened. If you don't ground, this is order. This is divine order. The order is in seven. The ways for which you power your magnetic field is through activating your chakras in a real, pragmatic, realistic way. Because everything that makes sense in the external world is due to order. Everything that don't make sense in the external world is due to chaos and disorder doing whatever you want. And most people, they non-binary, they got a mohawk, they got one of these goddamn bullhorn chains on their nose. They doing whatever the fuck they want to do because the people don't care. They doing whatever they want to do. And that is ignorant to the divine order. And this overall leads to people worshiping false things. And the way that people worship the false things is through elevating their ego, elevating their status. Cars they can't afford, clothes they can't afford, houses they can't afford, just to say they got this thing going on. Very subtle shit. Lust. And then just the facts that people just don't know that they don't know. 99.9% of people don't know that all they have to do is turn around. Niggas want to take a heated bath and a cold bath back and forth. Want to go to a heated tank. Want to go, you know what I'm saying? Slide down a razor blade sliding board. Cause niggas said it was the latest trend in spirituality development. They don't even know that's from a Wu-Tang song. They paid $5,000 for it because everything is fad. This I seen this on Instagram. Let me try it out. And all you got to do is go within. All you have to do is unify your mind with your soul. All you have to do is follow your intuition. All you have to do is trust your intuition. All you have to do is go within, listen, and act and trust and put your best foot forward. Trust, put your best foot forward. Get closer to your soul. When you feel that darkness, move more to the light. When you feel that negativity, move more to the positivity. Motherfucking niggas just be acting like, all right, fuck it. I'ma be beefing with my baby daddy, then fuck you. And y'all got a kid together. That ain't the way of the world. That ain't going to help nobody. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because you would be trying to figure it out to get it right with your baby mama or your baby daddy, but you ain't trying to figure out the underdeveloped demonic the underdeveloped executive function within your brain that then will create the alternative that will give you the audible to operate in such a way that you will let people just be them because you understand. You're not operating out of lust. You're not operating out of anger. You're not operating out of no form of confusion. You know that you have a soul. And if you know that you have a soul, you don't need shit else. You don't need to pull out that vibrator to go to sleep. You don't need to jack off to that porn to go to sleep. You stop jacking off. You stop going to that little lady around the corner. You start fighting them urges and develop a different response for your lust. Your life is going to change. And I'm talking. I got to do this. I was going to do this video at night, but the fucking demon don't come out at 6 o'clock in the morning like it do come out at 12 o'clock at night. They have a different vibration at nighttime. It is more prominent during this time. You get more depressed at night. A lot of motherfuckers crying themselves to sleep. Why? Because it's lust, that underdeveloped part of your body that feels like it have to be sexually satisfied, but it ain't no such thing as sexual satisfaction. You just want more. And it's just like greed, it's just like envy, it's just like anger. You just go, my kids, they be fighting. I pray to God they de-escalate. They never de-escalate. They always take it further and further and further. And it's like, okay, that executive function has not been developed yet. So I am going to just go. I'm gonna just do all of these slides because I'm gonna just. I'm not going to read all of this. I'm gonna just summarize. This is verse 22, verses 25. And this is just where we're at so far. We're talking about Asmodeus. And there's some parts that I do want to read, by the way. So it's a part in here that he says, I don't know. Let me see if y'all can see. No, y'all can't see. Oh, y'all can see my mouse a little bit. But, anyways, in the third paragraph, verse 24, towards the end, he answers, "It is the Glanos by name, and is found in the rivers of Assyria. Wherefore it is that I roam about in those parts." Not talking about a literal place. Assyria is not Israel. Assyria is a foreign land. So Israel in this concept, or Judea in this particular concept, is talking about your inner world and your inner life. Give me a second. And we'll talk about that in the next slide. But this is more or less talking about your subconscious mind, your shadow self. That's where Asmodeus, like, you're not going to talk about your lust. You're very acquainted with your lust. You know exactly what your lust is. But once again, your lust can be developed into what is called a strength. Your lust is only lust because it's undeveloped. A tadpole is only going to be a tadpole until it becomes a frog. It never goes back into a tadpole. You only a baby because you a baby. You're gonna grow up into a human. You never gonna go back to being a little baby. So lust is teenage at best. The more mature of human being, spiritual being, you don't even need it. And to the person that's like, well, you gotta be freaky a little bit, you never, it's like saying you gotta be a baby sometime. You gotta drool. It's okay if you just shit on yourself. You just gotta shit on yourself sometime because you was a baby before. That's the same thing as lust. When you purify it out of your mind through ritual, right? In this, they're not getting rid of lust because they watched a YouTube video. Let's be clear on this shit. Verse 24. And I adjured him by the name of the Lord Sabbath, saying, Fear God, Asmodeus, and tell me by what angel thou art frustrated. But he said, By Raphael. This nigga getting on my nerve. Raphael, what is Raphael? Raphael is the archangel of sleep. Sometimes you be so horny you can't even go to sleep. You just be horny. But we talking about Raphael, we talking about melatonin, we talking about the third eye, we talking about balanced circadian, a good night's sleep. Why? Because all of our healing is found within ourselves. All of our healing is found within ourselves. When you cut yourself on the arm, a motherfucking guru do not send you no goddamn turmeric to heal the wound. Your body, it heals it on its own. But he said, by Raphael, the archangel that stands before the throne of God, but the liver and gall of a fish put me to flight, who smoked over ashes of the tamarisk. So, to get rid of Asmodeus, to develop these executive functions, is through shamanistic sciences. I have a book that you're not gonna find on Amazon that's about shamanism, Native American shamanism. And a lot of the shamanism archetypes is through the bear. In this bear archetype, let's imagine, you know what I'm saying? I have to actually, because like it's all coming together, I have to, I'm going to put together those particular concepts that I've been reading in my shamanism book and related to this Asmodeus work, but we are developing our shamanistic muscle, our ritualistic muscle. But the main part of all ritual, and we started this earlier, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, it's a water baptismal purification ritual, regardless. Why? Because Asmodeus hate water. Asmodeus is salt. Salt, it drains the body of water. It dehydrates the body of water. Black people season their food with salt. The difference between Mediterranean food is that it's seasoned with herbs and spices. Goddamn macaroni and cheese and collard greens and shit, just salt. Chinese food, seasoned with salt. Once you taste food, you understand the difference between how shit tastes. You gonna hate salt. The children of Israel love salt because they hate water because Asmodeus need to possess you based upon you being dehydrated. That's prime area for possessing you through your mode of being dehydrated. So again, I asked him and said, hide not aught from me, for I am Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. Tell me the name of the fish which thou reverest. And he answered, it is Glanos by name, and is found in the rivers of Assyria, wherefore it is that I roam about in those parts. So we're doing an alchemical ritual to purify your shadow, and we understand that the energy is water because we dealing with emotions, we dealing with intuition, and we're talking about fish. So the fish is Pisces. Pisces is Pisces vesica. Fish. Who gives a fuck about fish swimming in the fucking river, y'all? There's nothing in the Bible or religious texts that give a fuck about fish. So the concept of there being fish in the particular text is talking about Pisces vesica, and which would just be a synonym for the divine feminine. Tell me the name of the fish which thou reverest, the receptive force, which is found in your subconscious mind. When you cultivate that receptive force, so that receptive force is a yoni. That yoni is utilized for sex. If that sex is just in reference to pleasure, either receiving pleasure or giving pleasure, it's purely demonic. The pleasure should be in the form of holy matrimony. That's where it makes sense at. When you have sex outside of holy matrimony, you have the propensity to create a child without a spiritual foundation. And when you create, even if you are married, if you create a child without a spiritual foundation, it allows the spirit of Asmodeus to set in. In reference to knowing how your life is going to play out, you know exactly how this thing is going to play out. Verse 25 goes on to say, and I said to him, hast thou nothing else about thee, Asmodeus? And he answered, the power of God knoweth, which hath bound me with the indissoluble bounds of yonder's one seal, that whatever I have told thee is true. I pray thee, King Solomon, condemn me not to go into water, but I will. But I smiled and said to him, as the Lord God of my fathers live, I will lay iron on thee to wear, but thou shalt also make the clay for the entire construction of the temple, treading it down with thy feet. And I ordered them to give him 10 water jars to carry water in. And the demon groaned terribly. And the work I ordered him to do, and this I did because that fierce demon, Asmodeus, knew even the future. So Asmodeus knows the future. Once again, you might be thinking that this demon exists outside of you. That's why this demon is also called the hidden treasure. That's why your executive function, I've been talking about it. Let's look it up. What is the executive function? If you never heard of it before. The executive function refers to a set of cognitive processes that enable individuals to plan, organize, initiate, and execute tasks, make decisions, and regulate their emotions and behaviors. When you was a young man, you only plan, organize, and initiated getting some ass. You didn't start no business. You didn't think about the future because you was ruled by lust. The term While research on the executive function and sex differences is ongoing and yields mixed results, some studies suggest that males and females might engage in different strategies and exhibit variations in certain executive functions while others find no significant differences. You gotta be kidding me. Let's just use common sense, scientists. Cause y'all, every time it's some true shit, y'all be like, well, we haven't figured that part out yet. We still trying to do research if the left and right brain hemispheres are connected or disconnected. We don't know yet. You mean to tell me that a person that has a healthy executive function is going to be trying to clap cheeks on the weekend as much as somebody that don't got shit going on? Science, man. So this last verse that I'm gonna cover, because I more or less talked about a majority of what I wanted to talk about, because I thought I was going to be tired and fall asleep on a live or something like that, but I did not. I'm still awoke. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. So the book of Tobit. What is the book of Tobit about? The book of Tobit is also known as the book of Tobias, is a deuterocanonical pre-Christian work from the third or early second century, which describes, okay, which describes, this is what Asmodeus is about. How God tests the faithful, responds to prayers, and protects the pre covenant community, i.e., the Hebrews of the province of Judea. Judea is just the people who have soul, the inner covenant space, the children of the Most High, people who have a relationship with God. When you have a relationship with God, that is a covenant that protects you. You don't have to do no extra shit to save yourself. The more extra shit that you need, motherfuckers love. I got the new latest book that niggas told me to get. I'm ready. I got a notebook. I'm about to study this book. I'm about to da 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 da. You are already saved by the blood of God. God will help you succeed in life, but you have to prioritize God. You cannot prioritize no motherfucking nigga. You cannot prioritize no goddamn hood rat scallywag that don't even love God. That don't even make sense. You prioritize God. So Judea, the Hebrews, those are metaphysical concepts in reference to the individual's relationship with the Most High. It tells a story of two families of Judah, that of the blind Tobit in Nineveh and of the abandoned Sarah of Ekbanah. So we talking about Jewish metaphysical Kabbalistic concepts, masculine and feminine, upward triangle, downward triangle. We meet at your side. The foundation of all spiritual life is the combination of masculine and feminine energy, your ability to receive God's message and your ability to act out God's message with your full heart. When you act within your soul's full advantage, nothing in this world will stop you. You have a pre-covenant contract. Tobit's son Tobias is sent to retrieve 10 silver talents that Tobit once left at Ragus, a town in Medea. Guided and aided by the angel Raphael, he arrives in Ecbatana where he meets Sarah. A demon named Asmodeus kills anyone she intends to marry. But with the aid of Raphael, with the aid of a developed executive function, The demon is exorcised. You don't exercise a demon outside of the world. You exercise a demon outside of the body. This is common knowledge, but common knowledge is not really understood in modern understandings because we look at everything external. We don't understand the mechanics of our soul. So when Raphael exorcises the demon, Tobias and Sarah marry. Tobias and Sarah return to Nineveh where Tobit is cured of his blindness. So when you exorcise the demon Asmodeus, it's almost like a get rich quick scheme. It's the best thing that could ever happen to you to get rid of the lust out of your heart, to get rid of all of the desires, to understand that you don't need to travel nowhere, to know that you just got to turn around and open the door. So let's just break down this last slide. And this is just kind of be like, this will just kind of be like a summary of everything we just talked about. And that will be part one of my Asmodeus metaphysical breakdown. Okay, cool. Well, no, is that it? No, yeah. Oh, yeah, this is it. We're just trying to go through line for line and explain this. I am the renowned Asmodeus. I cause the wickedness of men to spread throughout the world. The metaphysical meaning of spreading wickedness through the world is how we can have lower consciousness and we could be ruled by our Lord's consciousness. Whenever we are ruled by our Lord's consciousness, even if we have the best intentions, we're a good person, we have a good heart, and we have an overall destiny to be a good person, by acting in our lower consciousness, we are prone to ruin our lives. He said he causes wickedness of men. Wickedness is just your shadow. Wickedness is when you operated by by your ego. Wickedness is when you operating by your lust. When you wicked, you have trauma that you haven't healed from. Wicked is depression and sadness because it's you don't trust God. You don't know God. You don't love God. Therefore, you allow your ego to take over, your lust. And all these are coping mechanisms for the realities of your unhealedness. So whenever you are unhealed, you allow the wickedness to take over. And because Asmodeus is renowned, that means in this world you get glorified and it's normal to live in sin and chaos. It's normal to have a baby mama. It's normal to go to child support court. It's normal to see your girls twerking. It's normal to give your kids a phone so they can suffer from brain rot. That's normal. He goes on to say, I am always hatching plots against newlyweds. Once again, we're talking about children of the Most High, and Jewish people are the upward triangle and downward triangle. People who are of the Kabbalistic faith, which study the tree of life and understand that their foundation is the unification of masculine and feminine energies. The true marriage and newlywed is the unification of your masculine and feminine energy within yourself, which becomes the natural magnet for your opposite flame to magnetize towards you. Now, Since Asmodeus is always hatching plots, this is for people in the minefield, i.e., the dating world, going on dates with motherfuckers trying to find Mr. Right. That's a distraction that's going to lead to a doubt, and it's an emotional sabotage because you know that ain't nothing going to come out of dealing with this motherfucker for real. When you be dating and you be hanging out with people, you know that shit not real. At least I did. I knew every single time it was just for some shits and giggles, and that's a plot. So once again, if Asmodeus is always hatching plots against newlyweds, you might think niggas is at the altar and Asmodeus is trying to ruin a relationship, but newlyweds is just referencing that people are coming into the knowledge. That's a newlywed. When you understand that you have a soul, Asmodeus will continuously try to destabilize your inner balance and stop you from integrating your mind, your heart, and your soul. He goes to say, I ruined the beauty of virgins because their hearts and caused their hearts to grow cold. So once again, we're not talking about little girls that haven't had sex. We're talking about a metaphysical concept. So if he ruins the beauty of virgins, he's talking about the potential that you have to be what you came on earth to be. You got to understand that there's a demonic force or an undeveloped force within yourself that's blocking your growth. And until you begin to deal with that undeveloped force within yourself, your growth will continue to be corrupted. I mar the beauty of virgins. So once again, he ruins the beauty of virgins. He's ruining the potential through the undeveloped nature. And because you do not have the developed nature that you came on earth with, your self-worth is in the toilet. Because you having sex, that means you are scattering your seed around. You are losing energy. At the end of the day, that's all that happens. You just lost your energy, and you could have been sharing that energy with your divine counterpart, but that energy will never be recovered again. He caused their hearts to grow cold. So once again, most humans are automatons. They don't want to do no chakra activation. They don't want to do no meditation. They just want to make money and have sex. That's a demonic energy. I spread madness about women through the stars. So once again, this is a whole smorgasbord of corruption through the science of astrology that causes confusion, that causes obsession, and ultimately false projections. To whereas the science of astrology is not sacred, and people will just use it all willy nilly and cause madness. All of the fundamental viral nature of astrology is through to Asmodeus, but it don't mean nothing if you're not understanding the true science. And finally, I have often committed a rash of murders. The real death is the disconnection between your purpose. The real death is you not being able to be in true spiritual love right now. That's the real death. And once again, the ways to love is inside. You don't find a magical partner that heals you. You must heal yourself. And a lot of times, y'all already got partners, but you have to do the spiritual work to even begin to love that person. Okay. So, once again, we're talking about wholeness and we're talking about healing. And this is a very, very serious topic. And this is stuff that needs to be understood even deeper than I can understand it. So once again, if this is something that y'all are interested in, do your due diligence. Understand this stuff from a metaphysical level. I do all of my metaphysical cross referencing through two books. Those books are Charles Fillmore, Metaphysical Bible dictionary. Basically, every word is in this book. And then it's an online free rep resource that I use called truthunity.net. So on Google, I'll do Truth Unity and Demon and see what they say about demons. At a measure, what's the metaphysical meaning of demons? A demon is a superior power. Okay, so when we talk about Asmodeus, we must put some respect on his name, like Birdman. See, we don't want to ignore a superior power. We want to be able to do alchemy and transmute it. So one of the ways that you do the real alchemy is through real ritual. So real smoke, real fire, and the fish in the gal are just different ways to represent purification, represent banishment. So a demon is a superior power, a god, a devil. As a rule, the New Testament usage refers to an evil spirit, that is, a ruling consciousness that dethrones the normal reason, right? The metaphysical. Demons, evil spirits, are conditions of mind or states of consciousness that have been developed because the creative power of man have been used unwise or in an ignorant way. If in thought or in word you are using your creative power in an ignorant way, you are bringing forth an ignorant ego or a personality of like character. The mind builds consciousness that becomes established in brain and body. Both good and evil are found in the unregenerate man, but in the new birth, evil in all its works must be cast out. The work of every overcomer is to cast out of himself the demons of sin and evil through the power and dominion of his indwelling Christ or soul. Obsessions, dull personalities, and all mental aberrations are the result of personal error thoughts crystallizing around the will of man. The crystallization must be broken up with a focalized thought energy of great power such as is found in Christ I am or the soul. We are empowered by the soul to cast out demons, to reach the place referred to as my name. Affirm your unity with the soul, then silently or audibly, if you are so moved, speak the word and rebuke directly to the false person, to the false personality. Jesus rebuked him, and the demon went out of him. He suffered not the demons to speak. These texts means that Jesus or the soul did not admit for a moment that demons have any power, nor did he allow them to affirm power, but with the finger of God or Yod, he cast them forth. He concentrated the dissolving power of spirit upon them, and their hold was broken. So I say that all to any individual that is wanting a better life for themselves and want to take the power within their own hands to do their own work. When we talk about demons, we want to look at them in other people. And you're right, that person do have demons, but you have demons too. And if you're not willing to do the work, to do the exorcism work, then you are low key letting those demons rule over you. It's time to get into a space where we are able to develop our own shit, take care of our own shit, and stop thinking that somebody can do it for you. And that's why spirituality is some of the hardest shit you'll ever do in your whole entire life. Because you really got to notice how you are fucking up and do the real alchemy work. And the thing about me, if you anything like me, I'm a perfect little angel. I don't do nothing wrong. Everybody around me is fucked up. I don't know what's wrong with people. And in that moment of innocence, I'm letting the demon win. When I look in the mirror and I'm trying to figure out how can I develop, how can I be a better man, this is what came up. So with all of that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this presentation. Um, I thank y'all for allowing me to share things that really truly matter to me. So if it is long winded, it's because I am truly passionate and I did it for people who needed to hear this. So with all that being said, y'all have enjoyed another episode of the Shift Report where shift happens. I'm your host, the Hood Mystic, and I will see you guys on the flip side. Peace.
The Shift Report with the Hood Mystic, where shift happens.